Welcome to another edition of the Cuz I Have To podcast. When living your dream, everybody say it together, is the only option. That was nice. This is episode 70. And we bring back some of our guests because they go off and do amazing things. Are you someone that maybe something happened to you, you lost a job or life circumstances changed, and then you wanted to kind of change things up and you tried a bunch of things, maybe they didn't all work, but you're looking to be inspired to keep going? Well, our next guest, we bring him on back. Ashok Bhalla has transformed his life inside out, and we are going to take a deep dive into Ashok Bhalla's brain and find out more. You're intrigued, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Coming up next. Okay, so tell us everything, Ashok. You know what I want to go back to is just to give everyone a reference. So it was for you, how many years ago? I don't know how much you want to get into super detail about anything, but we could keep things, not specific, but 6 or 7 years ago, we both lost huge full-time gigs. First, Ashok lost his, then I lost mine, and it did throw our lives into quite a spin. And the first thing I wanted to bring up is that you and I both, during our time off in the beginning, applied to Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, and we didn't get the jobs.
I had this brilliant idea that it would be a lot of fun because, every time I'm at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, they're ringing bells at Trader Joe's.
Yeah,
they're not doing the same thing all day. Whole Foods at the time had at a bar, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to sit in Whole Foods and pour beer for people all day? Like, oh yeah, great idea.
The idea sounds very fun, I think, until we actually had to go in and clock in.
I actually got a couple interviews at Trader Joe's and I failed to get the job.
Yeah, no.
Whole Foods, I couldn't get an interview.
Oh, Whole Foods, I must say, I think they were going to hire me maybe, but they wanted me to work weekends and I already had a weekend gig at KFI, so I was like, I can't do it. But this is a funny example. I was just telling a friend who had an interview this week, she didn't think it went that great. And I said, what's funny? That my Trader Joe interview couldn't have been, it's probably one of the best interviews I ever had. Like, when you connect with the person and
Right.
You're literally high-fiving them because you're like so in tune, and then you don't get it.
No, I was surprised. I remember you telling me about her and it was like, okay, did you guys just become best friends?
Around that same time, I had what I thought was an incredible interview at Brooklyn Brewery, which would have been a great idea for me, right? To work
job.
At a brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And I didn't get that job. They probably saw what I didn't see at the time. They're like, yeah, we don't want this guy drinking everything on tap.
Yeah, right. Tapping the kegs.
So I don't know. You really have. I mean, gosh, I've known you for a very long time, and I think I can openly say you spent some time being angry. And what was the you were doing? Wasn't it a documentary? What was it called back in the day?
Irritation. I don't know.
Irritation. What?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to get into it, but
I was pretty angry. Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like a great release, an anger release.
We're talking about 2005 here. It was
a long time ago. Yeah,
a while ago.
Anyway, I just wanted to point out, like, you've really become a different person in so many ways, and I want you to kind of, if you can, walk us through why and how you think all of this worked out for you, because I know a lot of people who are really interested in transforming their life, and they hire a lot of coaches and they go to a lot of programs. I myself, did the whole transformation coaching program with Jim Fortin. And I guess, how'd you do it? What inspired you? How would you say your life is so different now? I guess maybe start there. Like, how was it before and how is it now?
Well, I was creating chaos. I had a drinking problem that was, unchecked. And so when you don't really accept, you're in really strong denial, you don't really have clarity, so you're like, oh, it's fine, I got it under control. Meanwhile, there's chaos that's happening in your entire life because you don't have it under control. So when now it just past the 2-year mark, alcohol free, and
Oh,
we
wow.
talked about it in the last time I was on your podcast, how it is the methodology. You're not like every day, it's not like, oh, I wish I could drink, oh, I miss it so much. It's not that at all. So it's just kind of like, wow, 2 years, amazing. I'm not
Right, but
pining.
maybe it's someone might be listening going through drinking issues. It was a book or a video that you
It was a book
listened
called
to.
Alcohol Lied to Me by a guy named Craig Beck, who's actually a British radio guy. So for a radio nerd and professional, it's great to hear from another one who had a chaotic life in the UK and figured out how to fix it and decided to become a motivational speaker.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I dig it.
I have heard a
So
lot about. I was just going to say that when I was working with Jim Fortin, he wasn't totally into the AA, excuse me, the AA philosophy, because he felt like the AA philosophy does make you label yourself an alcoholic, and almost like every day you have to decide whether you're not going to drink, sort of thing. And I mean, I'm generalizing this big time, but I feel like your philosophy in that book was something Jim also was teaching, that it is about just deciding you're no longer doing that. And so that
yeah,
one time, and then you're not debating over it every day.
right. And even, in the beginning when it's all so new and weird, it's not like, all right, well, this is not forever. I could always say, screw it, I'm going to, but then it all sinks in so well that you're just every day you're like, yeah, no, this is good, I'm going to stick with this. And, I stopped February 2020, so like a month before the pandemic. And then
Oh my
when
God.
everything started going to hell, I'm like, I could easily start drinking, but nah, let me just see if I can keep this going, and I did.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
But
good,
it's funny
man.
that you mentioned anger, because I've started to this, you're gonna laugh now. I've been listening to books about anger and how to let go of things.
What in the hell is happening?
Who the hell are you? Look, I've known Ashok for almost 8 years, and even I'm like, dude, this guy is fucking
Are you
turned
meditating?
around.
Julie, do you remember how many
Probably
times
is.
you would say to me like, you gotta let that go?
Anger is
And I'd just be
poison.
like, no, anger that fuels my resentment. I need it to. And it's like, why do I need to be so angry? It's really not, it's not a good way to be.
Yeah.
I think this is just getting older and maturity. I don't know. I've been very angry for a long time. And
Wow.
maybe it's old. You know,
You broke up with anger.
we could say that, sure.
Wow. A divorce.
Sorry,
even. I'd
anger.
say it's a divorce.
Yeah.
And you took the kids.
Yeah. I
Kids
tell you
are
though, it's a
spindrift.
I'll be sitting here thinking about things and I'll get worked up, and I'm like, why am I getting worked up? First of all, that was a long time ago. Who cares? Second of all, more importantly, who cares? Like, live in the present, forget the past. But I have to, this is why I'm trying to listen to these books now, because I need to learn the methods to do that.
You know what's amazing? Because we all we're using a video on this and we all blurred out our background. You kind of look like a monk right now.
Yeah, you do.
Like you are literally going to start chanting and saying
It's because there's
some
so little
beautiful
hair on my
things.
head at this point. It's disappearing. It's going with the anger.
Oh my gosh. So I guess it's kind of hard to explain, I get to people sometimes. I would think that what spurred all this, but it just maybe enough's enough. You turned a corner. You said maybe aging.
Yeah, I mean, also just geez, yeah, what exactly, it's just the clarity you get from, being clear-headed, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you used to hate the clarity.
Yeah, I needed to I needed to be in an altered state to tolerate things, I guess. I hated a lot of things. You know, when you have to play the same songs. I mean, it's not that simple. It's not about the same songs over and over. It's not about the band Train or Maroon 5,
yeah.
but it's
Well,
like,
hold on. Are you
or
sure
DJ
about
Khaled. What? Say what?
I said, wait a minute. Are you
Hold
sure
on.
about that?
I mean,
Ashok
maybe
isn't
it
a
is.
fan of Train. We should just put that out
Yeah.
there.
Look,
Yeah.
when you know, I mean, when you have to play music that you really don't like and you have to be excited about it, and that's your living, you're kind of backed into a corner, like, "Urgh." You know, I don't know, but it's silly when you think about it that way. Like, we're professionals, we're supposed to be able to deal with that, but I guess maybe I wasn't. I wasn't that professional. I don't know.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is. Oh my god.
I also wanted to get into you had a lot of, and you know, again, we don't have to go into specifics so much, but besides Trader Joe's, you had a lot of opportunities that didn't happen.
Oh
which
yeah.
led to where you are now. How are your, like, in the moment you could be so angry, like, I can't believe that didn't happen, or upset, but now looking back, Ashok has landed a fantastic position at 880 News.
This is basically, this is a dream job, anchoring the news. I was trying to figure out how many stations in the country exist that do what WCBS in New York does, and 1010 Wins, which is, you know, the same company. It's under 10, I think, in the whole country. There's not even 10 radio stations that are news 24 hours a day. You know, granted, 880 also has the Mets and some specialty programming. 1010 Wins is actually all news all the time, but you know, pretty much all news. And it's very few stations, and it's a dream job. And yeah, it's like, there have been times in my career where I thought I was going to work somewhere. Going back to like 1996, I was supposed to work in Washington, D.C. at one point, Philadelphia.
Oh,
you know,
really?
all these things would have changed everything. I never would have gotten to K-Rock if those gigs happened. We wouldn't be talking right now. The entire course of history would be changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
That's
I
trippy to
applied for a
think.
job once in Gainesville, Florida. Imagine that worked out.
What's the only good thing about Gainesville, Florida? Tom Petty?
Petty's born
Yeah.
there.
I
Right.
was gonna say, come on.
That's
Even
the
I
only
know
reason,
that.
That's the only
Yeah.
reason I actually went to the interview.
This is for Tom Petty.
Just for Tom Petty. I wanted to live in his hometown, even though he was living in LA at the time, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else was I gonna say about just a lot of opportunities not oh my gosh. Remember, you love, so I'm from Detroit, and Ashok loves to visit Detroit, but you were like, maybe was it Kalamazoo? Isn't that a big beer town or something?
Grand Rapids.
Oh, Grand
I did a
Rapids.
trip in
Yeah, Grand
2019. I was like, I'm going to drive to Grand Rapids. I'm going to see if I like this as much as I like Detroit, because, you know, every radio station I've approached in Detroit is ignoring me. Maybe Grand Rapids is more my speed. I was standing in a condo in Grand Rapids, like, and the, you know, the building, whatever, realtor, I don't remember who this person was, and they're like, so what do you think, when are you planning to move? And I'm just like, I really don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm thinking. Let me go to another brewery. And yeah, it was just silliness, and especially, you know, how many jobs just completely ignore you when you apply. But I never actually tried to apply to anything in Grand Rapids after that trip. I was like, I think I'm being silly, let me go home.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. At
Yeah,
one point,
that
your
is.
dream was maybe to go to Grand Rapids and just work at a brewery, right? And that you were done. You were retiring.
Dude, I was thinking
You
about
were
going
open.
upstate to, you know, somewhere in the Hudson Valley, and, you know, just
Oh, yeah.
hiding.
I like that
Just-
idea, though. The Hudson Valley sounds very tranquil. I kind of
Yeah.
like that one.
It's very nice, but yeah,
You
I
got
don't
New
know.
York City in your blood. Do you think you'll ever leave? Well, you live in Brooklyn, right?
Well, that's just it. It's like every time I've tried, you know, how many cities have I over the years tried to approach professionally? Los Angeles, Chicago, Seattle, Boston, Detroit, and everyone either just ignores you, or, you know, like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And now with this job, like, oh yeah, I turned off, you know, that thing on LinkedIn, open to work,
Oh,
and all
Oh,
that.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
turned all that off. I'm like, I don't want any more job emails. Stop it. No, done.
yeah. That's a nice feeling.
Yeah. I will say though, the Hudson Valley area, who was it that lives up there? I mean, it looks like a freaking Hallmark movie. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this looks so peaceful.
Could you imagine
I'm
you
like,
live inside of a Hallmark movie?
yeah.
That
You
would
know
be
what's
nice.
funny? I still would love,
You could still get a house there.
could
and
still
have
go
both,
live
yeah.
there and just commute in. But a friend of mine lives in Westchester, only 35 miles from where my office is, and it's like he is in traffic for 3 hours sometimes to and from. That sounds like a
No.
nightmare.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about going farther than 35 miles. I don't know. The real problem is, suburbia, all the property values are
Insane. Yeah.
crazy high because
Yeah.
people escape the cities throughout
Yeah.
Rona Panny, and stupidity. It's everything's inflated.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's it. Like, I mean, the valley here, which would be the suburbs, the valley was the cheap place to live and to get out of the city.
This would have
Now
been
it's like equally as expensive, which is
Would have been a
totally
brilliant-
insane.
would have been a brilliant move in 2019, and now it's like,
No, that's right. 2019
Yeah.
would have been the final year to do anything. And now
Yeah.
now who knows when this will change around. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's totally insane. though.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, what would be your big advice for someone looking to transform their life inside out?
I guess
Guru.
first they gotta
Ashok.
identify what's that.
I said
First
guru.
guru. Identify what is causing all the problems, right? Like if you don't know, or you're in some sort of state of denial, then you're not going to be able to do anything about it. You have to be ready. You have to have the right mindset and actually be willing to try completely different things.
Yeah. I was going to say you have to be willing to confront it, right? Which is the opposite of denial. You need to actually be able to look at it and accept it and go, cool, what's the reality here? What is this? Which a lot of people can't do. I mean, and that's everybody. We're humans.
It's
Yeah.
it's really difficult. It's
Yeah.
but then it gets when you start on sounds so cheesy. When you start on your journey, it's like it kind of gets easier. Everything's like, oh,
Yeah, everything falls into place, would you say?
yeah, what
Guru
was I
Ashok?
making such a big deal over that? Like so silly. What do I care about that? It's dumb.
Is it true
Yeah.
you have a lady friend as well?
Yes, it's
What in the
I know.
hell is happening?
I know who the mother. Or no, I'm just kidding.
Have you introduced her to the old you at all? Shown her a photo book like this was me when I was insane?
no. Insane might be a little accurate. I mean, I was gonna say harsh, but no. Yeah, I don't think she would believe it.
Well, if she's listening, I just want to tell her that you were still lovable at an arm's length.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would still try to
maybe
give
one
him
of
a
the
huggy,
nicest-
kissy.
Nicest things you've ever
You've ever said.
Hashtag
I feel like we're
sarcasm.
just like bashing. This is the Stern Show 2.0, everybody.
Yeah, right.
It's not a bash though. It's really
No, I mean, that's why I wanted you back, because I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I will say, I'm doing a lot of the same as far as being open. Like, I feel like a big part was you were open to move to Grand Rapids if it worked out. If something, when you were there, maybe something would have happened that would have made you stay, or the
yeah.
Hudson Valley, if that worked out easily, maybe you would have
Sure.
done it. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing a lot of, is just really not, I'm not attaching to things, and being open to what I feel is going to happen. I do believe in the universe and things happen for a reason, and I just feel like you're a big example of, once they do start working, things just fall into place. And I don't know, it's hopeful, and it's great
and it
insight.
sounds as cheesy as everything happens for a reason, but oh man, I'm so glad I didn't get offered that job I was going after in the Hudson Valley. No need
Yeah.
to be specific about anything, but oh my god,
Yeah.
that would have been
Dude.
all wrong.
Yeah. No, you're not even kidding, man. That would have been completely wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a difference.
And it's just one in a long line of things that I thought I wanted and went after, and it didn't work out. And now we know why.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to work out.
Yeah.
So
And it's always been in the back of my mind when something in recent years hadn't worked out. I think back to 1996 when I was supposed to work in Philly or DC, and someone potentially stopped that from happening. And like, thank you, because I ended up at the beginning of 1997 back in New York on 105.1, which at the time was the buzz, which led to K-Rock.
Nice.
Right.
K-Rock,
was supposed
New York
to.
City with Howard Stern.
I would imagine if I was in, I mean, nothing against Philly or DC, but I didn't want to be there. I needed to come home. I'm from New York.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not your
Born
style.
and raised.
But at the time, I would have loved to go to Philly and DC.
Yeah.
That station in Philly was a powerhouse at the time. And the DC station ended up crashing and burning. Actually, they both crashed and burned, but so many stations crashed and burned in the 90s.
Yeah.
And they still do.
I was gonna say, and they still are.
Yeah, hang on a sec. Not just the 90s. What about
Yeah.
2K and today?
Yeah.
Best variety
is this the
I mean, I get
aughts or is
started.
that just 2000?
What now?
Isn't the aughts 2000 or something?
I've heard that term.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
no,
like
I
it.
think radio says 2K.
Oh, 2K.
Remember
I
when
heard that.
The best variety of the 90s, 2K, and today.
Oh,
Maybe
you know
that's
what?
why I had a problem
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Well,
Well,
okay.
that's what started the problem.
Yeah.
That's what multiplied
I
it.
feel like Train
That's
had an
what-
influence. Train had an influence on your anger. What
Hey,
was
oh, yeah.
your least favorite Train song?
Was it the
Not
one
Drops
about
of
the
Jupiter. I still like Drops of Jupiter.
No, look, Drops of Jupiter is like the Beatles compared to the song about the 2-ply hefty bag.
Oh yeah.
Just a shy guy looking for a 2-ply hefty bag to hold my love. Now, if you're listening to this thinking this guy's making up lyrics,
That's
look
the
up
lyrics.
Train Drive By. Maybe give that a listen, and maybe
Yeah.
then take your speaker and throw it out the window because it's tainted forever. And if that doesn't do it for you, try Hey Soul Sister.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is a
God.
bad one.
You know what's so sad is that that's the only one that I know because they overplayed it everywhere.
Oh, you know Drops of Jupiter.
I know, but don't
even
remind
though
me. 'cause-
Even though Drops of Jupiter is a good song and I still love it, even though it
Oh,
does
is it
have
good?
questionable lyrics. Is that
The
the one about
best soy-
chicken and soy
The best soy latte
Yeah.
that you ever had, and me.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah.
That's a good song though, but I try to ignore it. It's something about chicken.
Yeah.
Look, Pat Monahan does amazing Led Zeppelin covers.
He
You
is a
remember
great
when he came?
vocalist. Oh
he
yeah.
showed up at K-Rock. He did it on Kane's show, and then Howard caught wind of it, and then suddenly the band Train became a friend of Howard's because they did
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin covers, and then they've
Yeah.
been on the show a zillion times since.
Did you
Wow,
know
that
Pat,
makes me
oh my gosh,
sad.
did we ever talk about this? That Pat Monahan was in a Hallmark Christmas
Oh
movie?
my God, that was.
Of course he was. Is that surprising? After a lyric about a hefty bag?
This past year, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
funny.
It was bad. It was
Yeah.
bad. I gotta look up those videos of him doing Zeppelin because sadly
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
wrong.
No,
his
his-
vocals,
It's
you know.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling All Angels. Let me say that's a pretty good song, right? Calling All Angels. We can give him some credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how
Yeah, he's
about
got, like-
Meet Virginia? That's okay too,
Oh
right?
yeah, that
Oh,
is a
I
nice
forgot
song.
about that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Never mind. I do know their song.
I still wouldn't put them on purpose. But if they came on, I wouldn't. Do you remember that moment in time where if we would be at a restaurant or bar or something and
Oh,
a
yeah.
train song, and I'd be,
You had to
just
run
be like,
out.
I would be like, I'll be back in 3 minutes and 33 seconds, and I would leave. I would leave the place. I couldn't take it.
Oh, the
Oh my
memories.
God.
Oh, the
Yeah.
memories.
That's too good, man. I wish I was around for those times because
Yeah.
I just would have.
You saw some of them.
I
Sure.
did see some. You're right, but those specific ones, like I
Oh,
want to be in
that's
a
very
New York
funny.
diner with you, where you're like, "All right, let's eat." Oh, I'll be back in 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. We're about okay. All right.
It could be averted if I asked for the song to be skipped. Sometimes they would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Old
worked
Skipperoo.
sometimes.
That is good.
Okay. Well, we are super happy for your transformation. We
Yeah.
are now at the point in the program where it's 5 o'clock somewhere, the sober edition. Okay, are you ready, Ashok Bhalla, Guru Ashok?
Sure. I hear that music. It's funky.
Okay. Actually, question number 1. You can have a lifetime supply of one thing for the rest of your life. What is it?
That's vague. You mean like
I'm not giving any parameters.
okay,
on
how
this.
about vacation?
That's a good answer. Good answer. I like it. I would also love that as well.
Me
Okay.
too.
Question number 2.
Okay, we know you're a big time news guy, right? But imagine this. You're back on the air as a DJ for one song, any format. What song do you play? And what do
Tool.
you say into it?
Anima. Remember
That's
Tool?
it?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
That song, I don't know. It's one of the. There were a lot of those songs from the K-Rock days where it's like you would just fire it and start talking up the intro, and I would get chills every
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because nobody else was playing these songs. It's not like when I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like pop music, how many stations playing the same songs sometimes at the same time?
Right.
We were unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
we were just listening to Tool a week or two ago, and just really, it brings me back to the early days of my radio career, and it brings me back to an overnight shift, and I'm looking outside of New York City, and then you're playing Tool, and you're just like, this is badass.
That's the Q1043 story. I love that
Yeah.
story where you were just like, nope, I'm leaving full time for
Yeah.
one shift.
Yeah.
And it was the right move.
Yep. Okay.
Did it.
Question
Did
number
it.
3. The best and worst thing about New York.
It's everything that is the best thing is the worst thing. Like the subway, there's no better way to get around, and it's the depths of hell. It is the worst place on earth. But when it works door to door, from this door to work, 35 minutes, you can't beat that.
Wow.
No, you cannot, man. Holy shish kebabs. That's amazing.
But yeah,
Wow.
it's also it needs
also
it's in worse shape than it's been in since the 90s. The city's a mess. I'm hoping the new mayor is gonna follow through on it. He's saying all the right things. Is he gonna do anything?
Yeah.
It's only been a month and a half. He started to complain about his press coverage. That was a fun story we did all day Tuesday. The mayor's only been on the job for a month and a half, and he seems really upset with his media coverage. Here's our reporter with more.
That's funny.
He
All
seems
right,
like a cool guy, so.
Question number 4.
He's got swagger.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. All right, number 4. Name the one superpower you wish you had.
I guess flying, because
That's
then
a
you
good
wouldn't
one.
need to take the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you wouldn't have to listen to them either. So you win twice.
You could fly 4 miles to work. The commute would be like 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, and you'd have Steve Miller Band or Seal on instead of train on the train.
I don't know about Steve Miller Band. Come on.
Yeah. What's that all about?
Dude,
Where-
Gary Malabre, have you ever heard his drumming? It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like my
Yeah.
dad's good friend from high school. He's one of the greatest in the pocket drummers you've ever heard.
I'm remembering Seal's version of Fly Like an Eagle now. That was good.
It was good. Yeah, he killed it. He's good. I think he's underrated.
Oh, he got so much airplay in the 90s and then just vanished, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I don't get
that's
it.
right. I don't know. It's sad.
Okay.
okay.
Question number 5. Name the biggest thing you are most grateful for.
I guess modern medicine. I'd be dead. I would have died in 2007 or maybe a year later or 2 years later. I
With a
think
heart issue?
vaccines are amazing. I don't understand why these people who are, I don't know, were they not given the vaccines at birth? Are they going to bring back smallpox? Is that what's coming up in the future of the U.S.? We're going to bring back polio? I don't know.
Maybe. Why would you? I mean, I think I kind of know this, but why would you have died?
Oh, I had to have. I was born with mitral valve prolapse, which is a very common. It's like a heart murmur. It's not a big deal for most people. They live their whole lives, but I
Yeah.
was in the small percentage that needed the valve to be repaired because it was leaking and regurgitating. All genetic, I would say to my doctors, "Are you sure I didn't do anything to cause this?" And I've always been honest with my doctors. And they're like, "You ever done crystal meth?" No, I haven't. Okay, then you didn't cause this. This is all genetic.
Yeah.
And so they repaired it, and it was a perfect repair. It's like we're living in New York and you guys are in LA. We're around the best doctors and healthcare in the world. Like,
Yeah.
that's a miracle. Modern medicine's a miracle. You know, we're in the past, what was the lifespan? People would be dead in their 40s, right? Or
Yeah.
50s. We
Yeah.
weren't supposed to live until as long as we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, right. I know 50s was like, oh, you're old. You made it far, friend.
My back hurts. I'm trying to address that now. That's the next thing. Physical therapy is coming up.
There you go.
All right.
I'm doing it
Hashtag
too.
old.
Yeah. Okay, we've gotten to the point where we're talking about our health issues. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
stuff.
senior edition of the Cause I Have to podcast.
I don't like pop music and my back hurts and the kids are
We're
loud.
going
Shut up.
to the doctor is the only option.
Yeah.
That's right. And I could give you something called OC. It stands for OxyContin.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
Have you seen Dope Sick yet?
Of
we just
course,
started
dude.
watching Dope Sick,
Yeah.
but I'm going to
It's
cut
insane.
this off because we're wrapping up this podcast.
All right.
Thank you, Ashok Bhalla. Congrats on all that you've done, and you're now on 880. It is correct in New York City.
WCBS News Radio 880. Yes.
All right. Congrats on the gig. Congrats on your transformation. And
Yeah.
thank you for coming on the pod.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love you. Give me a kiss.
Welcome to the Afterpod, where we talk about our guest after they leave the room. That was Guru Ashok Bhalla. Namaste.
Namaste, Ashoki. Namaste.
I was going to get into it. I feel I was a little bit of an influence on him, maybe in a positive way.
You were.
Possible.
He
It's
would.
possible.
Yeah. He would
I
give you
am-
the street cred.
I am one of the people who helped, got him to, I was doing news. Our life has very much mirrored it. Our careers have mirrored each other. He lost a huge job. I lost a huge job. And then I got into news. He got into news. Interesting things happening.
It's very interesting.
But also, I always would tell him when he was very angry, the old saying, when you hold on to anger, it's like drinking poison hoping to kill somebody else.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It kills you. It kills you.
No,
till you die.
It totally does. Storing up anger. I feel like this is putting myself down, but I feel like I've become more angry. But really, I feel like that started when, the injury happened. Because then you
Your
become,
ankle.
yeah, and you can't do anything. So that
Well,
probably brings a little frustration and upset, which then could be a little angry.
Well, and I think it's something you need to deal with. You need to
Yeah.
figure out.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then the pandemic happens, and you're like, cool. So double dosing.
Yeah. Break an ankle, pandemic. Although it was a good
Mm-hmm.
time to have a broken ankle.
Hey, I know.
Maybe not for me. When I had to do
No.
all the grocery shopping.
It was I
That'll
bless.
just make you more angry.
I will. Don't do it.
But anyway, it's really great to see, how far Ashok has come, and he's
Yeah.
super positive. And we even worked on a project together, which I hope we did a bunch of demos with some company that I hope that ends up working out, because it was really fun to work with Ashok. We may find out pretty soon if something happens with that, but
I
pretty neat.
think it will. You guys are really good at it.
you know
And
what
I
I
think-
should say in the what were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I was gonna say. I think that everybody, the people who listen in the public and whatever, it makes sense.
Yeah.
They enjoy it.
But I was gonna say, if Ashok listens to this, so I was brought in on a project, and they were like, "Hey, we really want you to pick a co-host." And I thought, because Ashok Ashok has a past of being angry, and I was like, how is he going to be to work with?
Yeah.
So I was a little scared, but I still selected him because he's so good. And in the end, it was really fun and it all worked out.
I was going to say,
Anyway,
you've known each other long enough. You've been friends long enough, which again, right. Maybe the scared part is like, yeah, you have the history of being around that stuff too. But I mean, he's like a freaking newborn. Should we put the Filter song on? I feel like a newborn.
That's a great song.
That is.
Do we get copyright infringement just by
talking about it? I don't think so. I think if you play it, I think you're allowed to talk, free.
I mean, in movies and that and TV, you can't. You can't even
no.
like. I don't know. You might be able to talk about the song, but you certainly couldn't have sang it like you just did.
Oh.
Yeah. So Zip It Friday.
It's a new song that I wrote, copywritten 2022 or 2022.
Right. So it was really great to see all the places, all the things that are happening for Ashok. He even has a lady friend, Jen. If you're listening, little wink to you. You seem awesome.
Winky. Yeah, she does. I hope one
Can't
day.
Wait to meet you one day soon.
Yeah.
We haven't been to New York in quite some time.
That's
Pandemic
this July will
really-
be 4 freaking years.
That's insane. I lived in New York, and
It doesn't.
The pandemic really. I mean, with Detroit, I'm from Detroit, and I hadn't been home in 2 years. That's so crazy. Not going to New York for 4 years. The problem now is that we had a lot of friends leave LA, so we have all these people that we need to visit. I still haven't visited Jamie and Atlanta, Heather,
Sierra and Braden,
Annabelle Island.
Oh yeah.
Sierra, Braden, Colorado.
Yeah. A lot of places. No, I know.
We gotta get our trip on.
We better, as my dads and uncles say, we better get your shit together, bro. They've been saying that literally for, I think, 60 years or something.
That's funny. Oh, right. We're supposed
65
to have
years.
We have to work on getting Uncle Bob on the podcast.
That's right. We do.
Yeah.
We need, we got to get Uncle B.
Okay,
Uncle
guys.
B
Thank you for tuning in. Another great episode with Ashok Bhalla on the
True
Yes,
that.
I Have to podcast.
Thanks for listening. Love you all. And I love you.